Straw Hat Gamer here to talk about One Piece episode 726, fourth gear, the whatever bound man, the spectacular Spider-Man bound man, whatever. So this episode was pretty good, all in all. I do have my fair share of problems with, not my fair share, but I do have a couple of problems with it, and I'll get to those later. So I'm just going to go through a couple of things I thought about this chapter. First, it did near the beginning, outside of the 5 minutes it takes for us to actually get into the episode, because One Piece episodes, to me, take about, well, no, it's not to me, it's actually a fact that it takes about 4 to 6 minutes for the episode to actually kick into starting from the get-go because of the super long opening, the recap, and that little stupid moment after the intro, where it's like um, introducing One Piece pretty much. Uh, so it takes a while for that to start, but then it took us a while to get to Gear Fourth, as we showed for about a solid 2 or 4 minutes, 2 to 4 minutes, that people were just running away from the birdcage, and that's pretty much all we showed for like a solid 2 minutes, I think. Yeah, we just had that for like 2 minutes, and it started to irritate me. I'm like, okay, why don't you just go into the Gear Fourth? And I know that the Gear Four stuff we got in this episode wouldn't have made, even with some extra Gear Four stuff, wouldn't have made that final like length. So they had to pad it out with something. I don't know. So yeah, and that's kind of what I like to call with One Piece episodes. I like to call them single chapter pacing, and I think that another reviewer I was watching kind of coined this phrase. I call it single chapter pacing because they have one episode, 24 minutes, dedicated to one chapter, which doesn't really seem like a good idea to me, because if you do all that, then the episode is going to go slower unless you have a lot of action in that chapter, because then it'll just work like it worked last week. But if you have a chapter like this that is pretty much solely action, then you have to add some extra stuff, or else you have to add either a bunch of extra action, which seemed hard with Gear Fourth because they would have had to make new techniques. They already had to have Gear Fourth going fist to fist with Doflamingo like he didn't in the manga, which I honestly don't mind. I'm not one of those manga purists, but it did it did have to add that extra stuff, and it couldn't just add techniques, because then we would call them out on it, even though the anime has added a couple of techniques, I think. So the pacing was not horrible, but near the beginning it wasn't great, and even then, throughout the episode, it did cut away from the Gear Fourth moments, and I didn't really feel good about that. So maybe I should get into the Gear Fourth next so I can get to a positive. And a lot of the stuff they did with Gear 4 was great. The animation in this episode overall was pretty spectacular. They pulled out that guy. I feel like there's this director they keep on hand for really awesome moments that makes the animation all shaky and shiny, and it's weird. But sometimes it doesn't work. I think there was this one moment, it was super, like, it looked odd. I think it was, I don't know, I can't really think about it right now. But this week it actually worked. It looked good. I mean, as opposed, except for maybe the arms growing, because they didn't really look rubbery. They looked like they were being, I don't know. It didn't look right. I think I would have liked it if it just looked more like a balloon blowing up more than like extra blood flowing to an arm or something. I don't know. So the animation was good, and a lot of moments did look amazing. Luffy's voice actor, or however you say voice actor in Japanese, I know it starts with an S, but I don't want to pronounce it right now. She did an amazing job with the Gear Force stuff. She added this extra little, I can't even describe it. It's kind of an extra bit of badass, you know? You're making a badass soup and you just sprinkle a little bit more badass in it and it becomes Gear Fourth Luffy. And the way she said Gear Fourth was pretty awesome. Um, yeah, and yeah, I think that's all I gotta say about that. She did a really good job and it sounded really amazing. Uh, Other than that, I think, yeah, that's about it. The pacing was not very great, but we still got some good action moments. The episode did do the chapter justice that it was based off of, so I had to give this one a solid maybe 4.5 out of 5. Or I don't know why you did that out of 5. I like doing it at 10. So 9 out of 10. It was pretty spectacular. It did have some problems, but it does have its flaws, but I think it still came out it still came out as pretty great in the end. And I'm kind of worried for next week. I don't remember seeing anything bad in the next episode preview, but if we have a lot of I'm actually not worried about the Gear Force stuff. I'm more worried about the post Gear Force stuff. That if you're watching this as a non-anime viewer, I'm not going to spoil it, or a non-manga reader, I'm not going to spoil it. So it's just I'm worried about that time after he uses Gear Force, and we might get sloppy animation then. So that's about it. Um, I'm going to do another video next week. I'm going to do my manga review of the chapter tomorrow. And yeah, just have a great day, everybody, and see you later.